going on, everyone? So, Torian Prince was on the Laker Nation YouTube channel. Shout out to Laker Nation. If you haven't seen that interview, go check it out after this video. But Torian Prince, he looks like he's sticking around with the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, obviously, he's a free agent, so it's not like concrete. But he even said in that interview that he 100% wants to stick around with the Lakers. That's the plan. That basically wants to find a home, right? And he loves it here in LA. He loves being a Laker, and he wants to stick around for the Lakers. Now, we'll see what the Lakers do. We'll see what direction the Lakers go. Again, obviously, both sides have to come to an agreement. Torian Prince was on the biannual exception, so he was only making like $5 million last season. More likely than not, if he's going to stick around, he's probably going to have to take the vet minimum, which just based on what I gained from that interview, it sounds like he'd be open to that. Like he'd be okay with that if he can stick around in LA, if he could stay with the Lakers. And I don't think he's going to get that much more than that, right? So it's like, unless some team offers him some, $10 million a year or something like that, I think he sticks around with the Lakers. Now, as far as Taurean Prince goes, no, I loved Torian Prince this season. I thought he was everything we needed from him. I defended him heavily. I understand the bad taste that a lot of people had in their mouths for Torian Prince, right? But I don't believe it was because of Torian Prince. I believe it was because of Darvin Ham, right? Like, I would make jokes and stuff like that, talking about Torian Prince's Ham's baby daddy and stuff. For those that are always like, say it in the comments. Well, there you go. But it wasn't about Torian Prince. Like, all my jokes were about Darvin Ham's overutilization of Torian Prince. Right, all of my just poking was about not Prince. It was about Darvin Ham because I just felt Darvin Ham was using this guy way too heavily. Right, and you saw the stats, the numbers backed it up. It was something like we were 2-20 or something like that whenever Torian Prince played over 25 minutes or something like that. So again, he's a guy that in that 15 to 20 minute range is excellent, right? Because he's a guy that he can knock it down. He shot nearly 40%. He promised to shoot 40%, but he was 39.6, which again was right there. They even kind of joked about it on the interview and talked about rounding it up. He's a guy that again, he's not this lockdown defensive guy, but he is versatile on the defense side. He is a guy that is capable of playing essentially 2 through 4 if you need him to. I mean, obviously you don't want to play him much at the 4, but on occasion, depending on the matchup, you kind of get away with that. Primarily 2 and the 3, and just have him out there as a off-ball shooter. He was really good off of LeBron and D'Lo and our primary ball handlers, right? Get after it on the defensive side. I really liked that you saw the progression as the season continued, right? Early on, he just primarily just shot threes and that was it, right? But then as you saw, he became more aggressive. He wasn't settling. Right? And he was huge for us on numerous occasions. I mean, he had big plays, big shots, even early in the season, right? Even in the in-season tournament stuff. We might not beat the Phoenix Suns in advance if it wasn't for Torian Prince, right? That sequence that really stands out to me was at the end of the game. I don't remember exactly how much time was on the clock, but it was something it was 30 seconds, something there wasn't a lot of time left. And the ball's rolling out of bounds. And it would have been Phoenix's ball. Everyone just stops. Kevin Durant is right there. Everyone just stops. Torian Prince tracks the ball down, runs, is able to save it and head the other direction. And then that's ball game. Right? Torian Prince was a guy that I was really excited when the Lakers signed him because he was a veteran. He was a guy that had shown previously that he's not afraid of the moment. He was huge for Minnesota in the year previous. He's in the mold of guys that we need, a guy that can, play some level of defense and then also knock down the 3 ball. Again, he's not elite from the defensive side, but he's good enough from the offensive side and can make a big enough impact, as we saw, and play good enough defense to warrant minutes for him. But again, it has to be within reason. If you're playing him 30 plus minutes a game, then you're probably not, very good. And one of the things that I appreciated in his interview was that, obviously he said, I want to start. I believe I'm a starter. Ask any player. Ask the 15th guy on the bench that has never played a game in his life. He's out there saying, no, I'm a starter, right? Everyone wants to be a starter, right? That's the highlight. That's the sex appeal, right? But ultimately, he said, hey, I'm comfortable coming off the bench, right? Whatever, depending on what the team is, depending on what the team needs. I'm a professional, I'm a veteran, right? And I loved that. He talked about how, he needs to keep up and make sure he continues to have his lateral quickness. It's something that I've talked about heavily, particularly with Rui Hachimura, and how, Rui doesn't have that lateral quickness to defend out on the perimeter. Again, Torian Prince, to me, it's such a low risk, high reward again. Right? Like, if you're signing him for a vet minimum, he's going to outproduce that vet. I mean, he outproduced his contract, which is more than a vet minimum. It's double a vet minimum, right? Or a little more than double a vet minimum. Right? So he already outperformed his contract. I believe he'll do it again. I think he's a guy that should, in theory, should stick around with the Lakers, because I do think he's the kind of guy you need on the roster. He's a guy that can be a leader. He's a guy that can be, he's not going to make the critical mistakes. He understands his role. He plays his role well. He's willing to buy into his role. He's willing to do whatever's asked of the team. And again, I understand some of it was just circumstance, right? Again, like, you had injuries all year from key guys and stuff, but a large majority was just Darvin Ham's lack of, utilization of players, as well as just playing him in a huge role. And I understand Darvin Ham. He trusts him. It's a guy that he felt he could rely on. And I understand the logic in Torian Prince getting heavy minutes. Again, he's constantly a threat out there. You saw teams would always have somebody glued to him, or at least within range, because they know, like, hey, he can get hot in a flurry. Even games where he didn't have it, right? He's one of 6 or whatever from 3-point range. Teams were still glued to him because they knew, like, hey man, all it takes is one, and all of a sudden he's rattling up. Taurean Prince was everything we hoped Malik Beasley would have been the previous year, and Malik Beasley just wasn't that. The lights weren't too bright for Torian Prince, and I love that, because we've seen that happen a lot, right, with the Lakers, where you get this guy who's super productive over here, shoots the ball well, does these things well, and then comes to the Lakers, and it's like he's never played a game of basketball in his life. He's just like, what happened? Right? And it's just like, we've seen that cycle over and over and over again. So to get a guy that is comfortable, that isn't afraid, that is able to step up and play big when need be. And if there is a situation that it calls for him to have heavy minutes, he's willing to step up and play that. But again, like, if that happens, then usually it means it's not a good sign, right? But again, I lean towards Darvin Ham, because you saw it not with just Torian Prince. I mean, I talked heavily all year about Rui Hachimura and the lack of utilization from him, constantly playing him out of position. Torian Prince at times playing out of position. Christian Wood is another guy that I think could have been so much better for us. But again, playing out of position, not playing and utilizing his strengths. Spencer Dinwiddie, right? He's a guy that I was so, like, my favorite signing this offseason, or I guess not offseason, but you get my, like, signing for the Lakers period, was Spencer Dinwiddie, because it was like everything we needed. It was like playmaking off the bench, a scorer off the bench, some athleticism and some size off the bench, some defense. Not an elite defender, but a guy that can defend and defend multiple positions, right? A guy that can do multiple things and play multiple roles. And Darvin Ham just used him as if he was, Daniel House or Joe Harris, just standing in the corner. It's like, we might as well assign them off the buyout. Like, why do we sign Spencer Dinwiddie to not utilize Spencer Dinwiddie in the best way possible, when everything that he's good at, we desperately needed? Like, every time LeBron and AD went to the bench, right? It's like our offense just goes completely stagnant. And what did Darvin Ham do? Oh, let's make Austin Reeves the primary ball handler, when all season we saw he can't do it. All season long, every time he was the sole ball handler and had his own unit, we were terrible offensively. And he struggled with ball pressure, all that stuff. Again, Austin Reeves, I like Austin Reeves, but again, you're playing him out of position. You're playing him in a role that he's not good at yet. Can he get there? Possibly. But, like, we didn't need that last season. And I didn't complain about it early on. Why? Because we didn't have really any other options. Gabe Vincent's hurt. We have all these injuries. But then you go sign Spencer Dinwiddie, and it's like, what are we doing? It drove me crazy. And it was this continued habit on Darvin Ham's part, where, yes, he played and leaned on Spencer Dinwiddie heavily, but it doesn't matter if he's, it's the same thing with Christian Wood. Like, he used Christian Wood as if he was a 3-and-D guy, right? Like, he's a big man that can stretch the floor and hit the three. Rather than like, oh, he's a three-point guy that can occasionally go down low. No, he played everybody out of whack. And then, you saw a lot of that with Torian Prince the same. I think if you get a proper coach that understands the value of Torian Prince in those spots and in those moments and can kind of call his number in various sequences, I think that he can shine. I thought he shined a lot this past season. Was he perfect? No, but no player really is. And he's a role guy. He had his ups and flows at times during the season, but again, he's a role guy. He was like our 7th, 8th guy. Like, he's not supposed to be lights out 20-point a game guy. Like, if he was, he'd be the clear-cut number, 2 guard or whatever, right? Like, so I think there's a lot of value in Torian Prince. I hope he sticks around. Also, the Lakers, they're going to need, if the Lakers do everything that they're hoping to do and going to get a star and, kind of upgrade in certain spots via trade, then you're basically solely on just like vet minimums and, taking a chance on guys, right? Taking flyers. So to me, it's like if you can get Torian Prince in one of those spots, that's perfect because you keep cohesiveness, right? The chemistry that he had and built with this team, a guy that, can perform and isn't afraid of the moment. Like, I just think there's so much value in Torian Prince. And I just think a lot of people that are kind of like, get rid of Torian Prince. I think a lot more people have came around, right? Like, as I've made videos about Torian Prince, you've seen more and more people that are like, you're right. Like, it was Darvin Ham. It wasn't Torian Prince, right? So I think a lot more people have come around. But for those that are still kind of like, you got to get rid of this guy, I don't think it's Torian Prince. I think if they like really evaluate the root of the problem, they'll see like it wasn't Prince. It was Darvin Ham and his lack of understanding of Torian Prince, the player. So anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you like the idea of Torian Prince staying? What did you think of the interview with Lakers Nation if you saw it? If not, again, go check it out. I'll even link it down in the description. But yeah, anyway, how do you feel? Whatever your thoughts are. Love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.